What is going on, my silent and deadly assassins? Hope you are doing well out there. So in this video, I'm going to break down the Radiant Dance machines. In the start of Season 21, they actually got an update to the dance perk, okay? So basically what it is if you get a kill while the dance is active or multi-dodge is active, and you're going to see multi-dodge on the screen. So I don't know why they just don't have it called the dance on the screen or just called the armor perk multi-dodge. But that is essentially what the buff is. So once you get close enough to an enemy, multi-dodge will proc on the left side of your screen. And then as long as you get a kill before the timer runs out, it will extend your multi-dodge. All right, fair enough. We'll go check out some things here, but I want you to know this is not going to be a build video. I'm going to go through basically just general mechanics that work with the Radiant Dance machine and dodging. And then some things that don't. I'm just going to let you know some of the things that don't. And then I'm going to look at each of the subclasses, because each one of the subclasses has things that work and things that kind of maybe even don't. So we're going to want to know what is the best way to kind of go about making builds and stuff like that. So anyways, this is just meant to be informative so that you already know, kind of how the Radiant Dance machines now work. Now, during this testing, I'm going to be using recuperation, replenishes health each time you pick up an orb of power. And better already, your health begins to recuperate immediately after picking up more power. The reason why I'm going to do that is, one, so I can stay alive and we can just kind of get through this a little bit quicker. So if you're like, oh man, Radiant Dance machines, keeps you alive pretty well. Well, one of the big reasons why is I'm using these two mods. And on the class item, I am using the Reaper mod, which after using your class ability, your next weapon final blow spawns an orb of power. So obviously that's going to pair really well with the two mods I have on my legs. And also this powerful attraction mod. This is new to Season 21, but basically what it does is automatically collects nearby orbs of power when you activate your class ability. So you can see how the synergy here between these four mods is going to be very, very powerful in attracting health, right? Little pun there, huh? Yeah. But I just want you to be aware that I am going to be base defaulting to those four mods throughout this. And you're going to see kind of the power in using a Reaper mod with Radiant Dance machines. And as long as you're getting those kills after you're dodging and just kind of help keeping your health chaining and going. And then there are other mods that do and do not work. So we're going to kind of generally go through those mods here right now. So the first one we're going to test out here is Bomber. Now, Bomber is reduced grenade energy cooldown whenever you use your class ability. Obviously, you can understand in a situation why this would be very, very strong. So let's give it a go. So you can see on the left side of your screen, as I approach this wizard, you can see multi-dodge is available. This is basically the dodge perk. I don't know why it's called multi-dodge and not like, the dance perk. But basically what you want to do is you want to dodge. You want to then kill an enemy. You can then dodge again, and then you can see over on the left side of your screen, you got multi-dodge and you got a cooldown going. And all you got to do is get a kill every few seconds, and you're going to be good. It'll keep extending, and then anytime you dodge after that, Reaper will kick in. You'll see the orb of power then spawn. I don't know why Powerful Attraction didn't pick up that one. That's kind of weird. And all you got to do is keep dodging, though, and you are good. Good. See, so good. Super good. So that's how that works, okay? So that's how you get multi-dodge and you keep it up. It's not too hard to keep multi-dodge up. So I want you to be aware also, the other reason why Powerful Attraction was not picking up orbs of power, we were just kind of witnessing that, is because I have a Void Scavenger on. I don't have anything that actually is using armor charges right now, so I need to put on something that uses armor charges. So I'm going to just put on this Strand Weapon Surge. Not a big deal. I'm using a Strand pistol, and that should now proc, or at least be able to proc, then the... Yeah, there we go. So there we go. Definitely procking. Yep, there we go. Just picked up that orb power. So there you go. So you definitely want to make sure that you have the build or whatever you're trying to do set up correctly. Like you have something that can use armor charge if you have a full super, and that was the issue I was running into. I had a full super, so it wasn't picking up my orbs of power. So I just want you to be aware of that. So there's things like that that you definitely want to be aware of. But the other thing, if you did notice, Bomber did not work on the multi-dodges. It was only working on the initial dodge to start the multi-dodge, okay? So I'm going to assume outreach is probably going to be the same, but you know what? We'll give it a go. Sometimes things like that slip by. All right, so there we go. We got one. Get off the screen. I'm not noticing that. Yeah, I wasn't noticing any increases there on outreach either, so on the melee cooldown. Now looking at the helmet piece, one of the things that I can tell you is Dynamo does not work on the multi-dodges. It only works on the initial dodge. So if you do want to go this route, just be aware of that. It's not going to work on all the successive dodging that you get from the multi-dodge. But let's see if hands-on will work, because it should. And if we pair that with Gambler's Dodge, where we are able to get our melee dodging ability back repeatedly, we should be able to get... There we go. I'm not good at this, apparently. So yeah, I mean, it's working. I'm getting my super back a little bit quicker. Not gonna say it's the, yeah. Oh, did you see that? I mean, that was a big jump there in super regen. So yeah, that is a pretty good way to go about it if you do want to combine hands-on mod and your Gambler's Dodge. Okay, so Gambler's Dodge and hands-on do work pretty well. And while we're also here talking about abilities, Marksman Dodge, yes, this does work with all the other successive multi-dodges as well. So definitely make sure you use that to your benefit in whatever build you are using. It is pretty strong. And taking a look here at Lethal Current, I just had this equipped, and obviously you just saw I was making enemies jolted, and that's what it does after you dodge. So yeah, this was also working with the multi-dodge part of the exotic. Also, one other thing I want to quickly show you. So if you do die when you're in multi-dodge mode, you will revive with your dodge ability. Okay, so you don't lose it. I do want you to be aware of that. So if you do respawn, you can see I do have my full dodge ability. So that is kind of, nice little benefit there. I'm going to move over to Solar and take a look at Solar here real quick. Should go a little bit quicker. Acrobat's Dodge does work. It is kind of funky to use just because it's not as a quick dodge as Gambler and Marksman's Dodge, but Acrobat's Dodge does work pretty well. But one of the cool little synergies I did find with Gambler's Dodge is using, so it's actually Knife Trick. Knife Trick is the one that scorches targets on hits, and if you do pair that with Ember of Ashes, basically you hit something with your Knife Trick and then dodge, get your Knife Trick back, hit it again with Knife Trick, and it will then explode with that ignition. So there's that ignition. You hit it with a Knife Trick, you dodge, get your Knife Trick back, hit it with a Knife Trick again, and boom, there you go. All right, so I'm going to move over to Void. Now, one of the cool things about doing this with Void, if you kind of combine Trapper's Ambush and Vanishing Step, you can be invis pretty much the whole time, because you can just get your Snare Bomb back with Gambler's Dodge. So you can be invis literally the entire time if you choose to play it that way. The other way you can kind of do it is play a little bit more passively. So I'm going to show you this way first, and we'll check out another way. So yeah, you can just keep just doing this over and over and over again. And you just never have to worry about coming out of invis at all. So yeah, really cool, really fun way to kind of play around with the Void Hunter ability with Trapper's Ambush and Vanishing Step. So I want to modify this just ever so slightly and put on a little bit longer range weapon here. So one of the things I kind of want you to be aware of though with Snare Bomb and using Gambler's Dodge is that if you are at longer ranges and you activate your multi-dodge, you get kills, you can get your Snare Bomb back, all that kind of good stuff. But if you're outside of the like multi-dodge range, you notice I'm not getting my Snare Bomb back. So that is kind of the problem. Using snare bomb, you need to be close range, like right there. Got to throw close by, able to dodge and get my snare bomb back. You know, I can throw it out there, and if you are trying to use it, you know, to kind of weaken enemies at a longer range, just, you know, keep in mind that you're gonna have to get somewhat close to an enemy to get your snare bomb back if you want to do that. But just wanted you to be aware of that. All right, so moving over to Stasis Hunter. So I'll try this with Winter Shroud, and I can tell you it doesn't work. It's really kind of a bummer. This would have been really a lot of fun. But the Withering Blade is kind of like Snare Bomb. You need to be close enough for it to actually proc and actually work. But we will get in there and kind of test that out. So you can see Winter Shroud did not proc there twice. And no matter if I try to do it again, it just doesn't proc anymore. So it's kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. Now, as far as Withering Blade, if I throw two of them out there, I use my multi-dodge, I don't get it back. It's really kind of a bummer. It only works on the first time, and if you are close enough to enemies. So if I'm like close enough right there, I just got it back. And so you just got to be close enough to enemies, and just remember of that rule, and you know, they can be a lot of fun then on Stasis as well. All right, so moving over to Strand Hunter. This is where you don't want to use the aspect Ensnaring Slam, okay? They did mention in the past notes that if you do use Ensnaring Slam, that it will actually end multi-dodge. So if you do want to end it early, use Ensnaring Slam. But there was a couple times where I was actually just messing around with it, just kind of play testing, and I actually did have this equipped. I accidentally activated Ensnaring Slam. I didn't really want to end or activate it at all. So just keep that in mind, that if you do want to go with the Strand Hunter, maybe you take this aspect off. Now on the Strand Hunter, one of the cool things that you can kind of combo this is with Thread of Warding. Picking up an Orb of Power grants Woven Mail. And since we're already combining this with two leg mods that give us health, this is a really good way to keep your damage resistance up and get your health back, all within dodging, picking up an orb. And it's just a solid chain that keeps going. Your damage resistance and survivability is so much higher on Strand, and probably the subclass I do recommend maybe pairing with this, but there are some really good builds with some of the other subclasses, but Strand is super, super solid. So I'm going to show off a few things on the Strand side. One of them, obviously, Threaded Spike, and be able to dodge, get that back. And since Threaded Spike just got a damage increase, yeah, pretty good idea to be using that. So as you can see, I'm using Threaded Spectre, and if I throw my dodge out there, I just got to, or not my dodge, my melee. I can throw it and just keep getting my Threaded Spectre, or my melee ability out there as much as I possibly can. So that works pretty good. And the cool thing about it is if you pair it with okay, so you do need to be within range of an enemy to be able to keep dodging, using multi-dodge to get your melee back. Okay, so that is a good thing to know, all right? Definitely pairing, you know, getting an Orb of Power, getting Woven Mail, and Recuperation better already. Powerful Attraction and Reaper, really solid on the Strand Hunter. And if you also combine that with the hands-on helmet mod, you know, could be a really good way to kind of help get your super up as well. So hopefully you are now able to go use the Radiant Dance machines and have a better understanding of what's going to work with them in builds and loadouts, and what is not, or some situations where they work and shine really well, and some situations where maybe they don't. Maybe another exotic maybe fits a loadout a little bit better of what you're trying to accomplish. But Radiant Dance Machine is really strong if you know how to use it. Obviously, you know, getting an Orb of Power up with Reaper and proccing, you know, other effects off of picking up an Orb of Power is really, really, really strong with this exotic. So be silent, be deadly.